You eat breakfast, and your blood sugar jumps to 200. The meal felt normal, the spike was not. Most breakfast foods marketed as healthy are actually fast-digesting carbohydrates. They break down into glucose quickly, and your blood sugar pays the price. Here's the mechanism. When you eat carbohydrates without fiber or protein to slow them down, glucose enters your bloodstream fast. That happens before you finish your coffee. So here's the first fix. Stop drinking fruit juice on an empty stomach. Swap it for whole fruit. The fiber slows absorption. That one change can flatten your morning spike. Here are 7 breakfast mistakes that raise blood sugar, and the simple alternatives that may help stabilize it. Mistake number 7, drinking fruit juice on an empty stomach. Orange juice, apple juice, even no sugar added varieties. They all have one problem: no fiber. Whole fruit has fiber built into its structure. That fiber slows how fast sugar moves into your bloodstream. When you juice the fruit, you remove that fiber. What's left is concentrated natural sugar, and it absorbs fast. On an empty stomach, there's nothing to slow it down. Glucose rises quickly. For someone managing type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that matters. The fix is simple. Eat the orange. Don't drink it. Mistake number 6, sugary breakfast cereals. This one surprises people. The box says whole grain. It might even say heart healthy. But flip it over and look at the sugar content. Many cereals combine refined grains with added sugar. Refined grains have had the fiber and bran removed. What's left digests rapidly, almost like eating straight sugar. Your blood sugar doesn't care what the front of the box says. The alternative? Choose a high-fiber cereal with minimal added sugar, or skip cereal entirely and have eggs. Eggs have 0 carbohydrates. They won't spike your blood sugar at all. If this is already making sense, hit the like button. It helps more people managing diabetes find this information. Mistake number 5, carb-only breakfasts. Toast, bagel, oatmeal with nothing else, even fruit on its own. These aren't bad foods. But eating carbohydrates without protein or fat is a problem. Here's why. Protein and fat slow gastric emptying. That's the rate at which food leaves your stomach and enters your small intestine. When digestion slows, glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. The spike is smaller, the curve is flatter. When you eat carbs alone, there's nothing to slow that process. Glucose moves fast. The fix isn't complicated. Add eggs to your toast. Stir Greek yogurt into your oatmeal. Put a handful of nuts next to your fruit. You don't have to eliminate carbohydrates, you just need to stop eating them alone. This is one of the most practical changes you can make. And it works at any meal, not just breakfast. Mistake number 4, large portions of bread or toast. Bread is one of the most common breakfast foods. It's also one of the fastest digesting carbohydrates you can eat, especially white bread. White bread is made from refined flour. The fiber has been stripped out. It digests quickly, glucose rises quickly, and blood sugar spikes quickly. Whole grain bread is better, but portion still matters. 2 thick slices of even whole grain bread is a significant carbohydrate load. For someone with insulin resistance, that load can still produce a meaningful spike. The practical fix? Reduce the portion. 1 slice instead of 2. Or choose a dense, seedy whole grain bread, the kind where you can see the grains. More fiber, slower digestion, smaller spike. And pair it with something: eggs, avocado, nut butter. Don't eat bread alone. Mistake number 3, fruit smoothies with large fruit portions. Smoothies feel healthy, and they can be, if you build them right. The problem is this: blending fruit breaks down its cellular structure. The fiber is still technically present, but it's been disrupted. It no longer slows absorption the way whole fruit does. Add to that the fact that most smoothies use 2, 3, sometimes 4 servings of fruit. That's a concentrated sugar load, delivered in liquid form, which absorbs faster than solid food. A large fruit smoothie can spike blood sugar significantly, even though it contains no added sugar. The fix: reduce the fruit. Use 1 small serving. Add protein, a scoop of plain protein powder, Greek yogurt, or nut butter. Add a handful of spinach or kale. These additions slow digestion and reduce the glucose impact. A smoothie built this way is genuinely different from one that's just blended fruit. Mistake number 2, drinking coffee on an empty stomach. This one is less obvious. Coffee itself has almost no carbohydrates, so why does it matter? Caffeine stimulates the release of stress hormones, primarily cortisol and adrenaline. These hormones are part of your body's fight-or-flight response. One of their jobs is to raise blood sugar quickly, so your muscles have fuel available. When you drink coffee on an empty stomach, that cortisol response is stronger. Blood sugar can rise, not because of what you ate, but because of the hormonal response to caffeine. This effect varies from person to person. Some people are more sensitive to it than others. But if your fasting blood sugar is already elevated, adding a cortisol spike before you've eaten anything can make the morning numbers worse. The fix? Have coffee with food, even something small, a handful of nuts, a boiled egg. Eating first blunts the cortisol response and gives your body something to work with. Mistake number 1, starting the day with sugar, pastries, sweetened yogurt, flavored oatmeal packets, granola bars. These are common breakfasts. They're also high sugar, fast digesting, and almost completely lacking in protein or fiber. When you start the day with a sugar-heavy meal, blood glucose rises sharply. Your pancreas responds by releasing insulin to bring it back down. In someone with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that insulin response is impaired, so the spike stays higher, longer. And here's what makes this worse as we age. Insulin sensitivity naturally declines with age. Muscle mass decreases, and muscle is one of the primary tissues that absorbs glucose from the bloodstream. Less muscle means less capacity to clear glucose after a meal. This is why the same breakfast that was fine at 35 can produce a much larger spike at 60 or 65. The body's glucose management system becomes less efficient over time. That's not a reason for alarm. It's a reason to be more intentional about what you eat first thing in the morning. A balanced breakfast, protein, fiber, and a moderate amount of healthy fat gives your body the tools it needs to manage glucose more effectively. It doesn't have to be complicated. Eggs and vegetables, Greek yogurt with nuts and berries, avocado on whole grain toast with a boiled egg. These aren't exotic meals, they're just built differently. What makes blood sugar spikes worse and why breakfast matters most? Blood sugar is naturally higher in the morning. This is called the dawn phenomenon. Cortisol rises before you wake up to prepare your body for the day. That cortisol raises blood sugar as part of a normal hormonal cycle. For someone without diabetes, insulin handles that rise quickly. For someone with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that morning baseline is already elevated, and a high-carbohydrate breakfast pushes it higher. This is why breakfast has an outsized effect on blood sugar compared to other meals. You're starting from a higher baseline. The margin for error is smaller. Small changes compound. Swapping juice for whole fruit. Adding protein to your carbs. Reducing bread portions. Having coffee with food instead of before it. None of these changes are dramatic, but together they change the shape of your morning glucose curve. Building a better breakfast, practical implementation. You don't need a perfect meal, you need a better one. Here's a simple framework. Every breakfast should have at least one protein source, at least one fiber source, and a moderate amount of healthy fat. Protein sources: eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, nuts, seeds. Fiber sources: vegetables, berries, whole grains, legumes. Healthy fats: avocado, olive oil, nuts, seeds. If you're currently eating cereal and juice, you don't have to overhaul everything at once. Start with one swap. Add an egg to whatever you're already eating. Replace the juice with water and a piece of whole fruit. That's it. One change. See how your numbers respond. Then make another change the following week. Sustainable improvement doesn't come from doing everything at once. It comes from stacking small, consistent changes over time. If you're managing diabetes and you want simple, practical habits that support stable blood sugar, subscribe. I break these down every week, no hype, just clear information you can actually use. Comment below, which of these 7 mistakes were you making? Type wrong if you were drinking juice in the morning. Type right if you're already pairing protein with your carbs. I read every comment. The biggest takeaway from today: breakfast sets the tone for your entire day of blood sugar management. Most spikes aren't caused by obvious junk food. They're caused by normal-seeming meals that are missing protein and fiber. Fix the structure of the meal. The numbers follow. There's a video coming up next on the best foods to eat before bed if you want lower fasting blood sugar in the morning. Watch that one next. It connects directly to everything we covered today.